You've probably heard that manifestation is as easy as asking, believing, and receiving. That if you think positively, make a vision board, or say enough affirmations, the universe will respond like a cosmic vending machine. But here's the truth no one talks about. If it were really that easy, why are so many people still frustrated, exhausted, and stuck? Why are the same individuals who chant mantras and visualize daily still watching their dreams collect dust? This video isn't about adding more fluff to your manifestation routine. It's not another motivational pep talk wrapped in glitter. It's about something far more powerful and far more real. You see, the real reason manifestation fails isn't because the idea is broken. It's because the way people understand it is completely backwards. They're focused on rituals instead of results, on control instead of connection. Quantum manifestation isn't about convincing the universe to give you something. It's about tuning into what already exists in the field of potential and aligning yourself with it so precisely that reality has no choice but to mirror it. The truth is, you're not a passive observer in this process. You're the tuning fork. You're the frequency generator. You're the switch that either opens the circuit or keeps it jammed. And yet, 99% of people overlook this simple truth. They get caught up in wishing, hoping, and waiting instead of becoming. In this video, you'll learn exactly what quantum manifestation really means, stripped of fluff, hype, and pseudo-spirituality. You'll discover the physics behind the frequency, the mindset behind materialization, and most importantly, why so many people get it wrong even when they think they're doing everything right. You're going to understand why visualizations fall flat, why some affirmations leave you feeling worse, and why taking more action sometimes just creates more resistance. This is where science meets awareness. This is where energy meets identity. This is where you stop forcing outcomes and start embodying inevitability. By the time you reach the end of this video, you'll have the clarity to stop chasing your desires and the tools to tune into them. You'll realize manifestation isn't a to-do list. It's a state of alignment. It's the harmony between who you are, what you believe, and what you consistently experience. So if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right but still feel blocked, if you're tired of chasing dreams that never seem to land, and if you're ready to shift from guessing to knowing, from hoping to becoming, then keep watching. Because we're about to strip manifestation down to its most powerful truth. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's begin. Most people approach manifestation like writing a cosmic wish list. They ask for what they want, they wait, and they hope it somehow appears. It's the mindset of passive attraction. Like putting a note in a bottle and tossing it into the sea, praying the universe reads it and delivers. But this isn't how reality works, especially not at the quantum level. The most common misconception is that manifestation is a process of requesting something from outside yourself. That it's about convincing something bigger to finally grant you your desires. But quantum manifestation isn't about begging for outcomes. It's about aligning with them so deeply that they become unavoidable. You see, this is where almost everyone misses the mark. They confuse desire with identity. They say, "I want abundance," while constantly reinforcing, "I am lacking." They wish for love, while vibrating in unworthiness. They set goals, but continue to think and feel like the person who never gets what they want. This is the myth that manifestation is about what you do. That if you write it down enough, repeat it enough, or obsess over it long enough, it will come. But none of that matters if your frequency contradicts your request. At the quantum level, everything is energy, including thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and the outcomes we seek. Everything exists as a wave of potential until it's observed and chosen. That observation, that selection, doesn't come from your words. It comes from your alignment. If you're constantly looking around, waiting for proof, you're reinforcing the idea that you don't have it yet. And in the quantum field, that's the frequency you're locking in. Not having, waiting, lack. Manifestation is not about sitting still and visualizing. It's not about waiting for something magical to happen. It's not about crossing your fingers while repeating affirmations. All of that keeps you in the energy of hoping, not the energy of certainty. Here's the problem. Most people stay in wanting mode, and wanting energetically is not the same as having. When you want something, you're announcing that it's not present. You're reinforcing absence. That's why so many people feel like manifestation doesn't work. They're doing all the right things on the surface, but the signal they're sending out says the opposite. And here's something no one likes to admit. It feels good to stay in the cycle of wanting. Feels safe, familiar, comfortable. Wanting allows you to hope without responsibility. It gives you the illusion of progress without the discomfort of change. But the truth is, nothing changes until you do. The real shift happens when you stop trying to get and start allowing yourself to be. That's not just poetic. It's energetic law. You don't manifest what you desire. You manifest what you are in harmony with, what you are coherent with emotionally, mentally, and energetically. Another mistake? People treat manifestation like a temporary act. A few minutes of journaling, a vision board on the wall, a short morning routine. But your life isn't shaped by occasional practices. It's shaped by your persistent identity, your self-image, your dominant frequency. You don't get what you occasionally think about. You get what you consistently embody. And that embodiment isn't about pretending. It's not faking confidence or playing a role. It's about locking in the feeling that what you desire is already yours, because it exists as potential, and your alignment is what brings it into form. So let's be clear. Quantum manifestation isn't about waiting. It's not about asking and standing by. It's about becoming the version of you who naturally lives the reality you're calling in. This is the part most people skip because it requires accountability. It demands inner coherence. It forces you to stop outsourcing your power and start taking full ownership of your state of being. And the sooner you stop treating manifestation like magic and start understanding it as alignment, the sooner you'll realize that the universe isn't responding to your wishes. It's responding to your frequency. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always. Everything in your life, your relationships, your finances, your health, your opportunities, exists on a frequency. That's not philosophy, that's physics. At the quantum level, the entire universe is made up of energy. And that energy, including the energy you radiate, behaves according to very specific laws. Let's strip this down to the most basic truth. The quantum field contains infinite potential. That means every version of your life already exists, not in some metaphysical fantasy, but as waves of probability. What you experience in the physical world is simply the result of which possibility you continuously align with. In this field of infinite potential, your thoughts are not passive. They are electric signals. Your emotions are not abstract. They are magnetic forces. Together, they create a coherent field, a personal signal that communicates directly with the unified quantum field. Now, here's the part most people never get taught. You are constantly manifesting. It never stops. You're not waiting for it to happen. You are doing it every second. The question isn't whether you're manifesting. The question is, what are you manifesting? Are you manifesting from fear, from doubt, from lack? Or are you manifesting from coherence, clarity, and alignment? When you place your focused attention on a possibility, with belief and emotional certainty, you collapse that wave of potential into physical reality. This is not imagination. This is a measured phenomenon in quantum physics known as the observer effect. Your observation, when done with emotional coherence, alters the outcome. Here's the metaphor that makes this crystal clear. You are like a radio. Every thought you think and every emotion you feel is part of a frequency you're tuning into. The station you're set to determines what music or reality you hear. But most people, they leave the radio on static. They're constantly flipping through stations, sending out mixed signals. One minute they're tuned to abundance, the next to doubt. One moment they feel confident, the next they're filled with anxiety. And the quantum field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to your signal. Let's make this even more concrete. Your brain emits electrical activity. This is measured in hertz. Your heart generates a magnetic field, and it's 5,000 times stronger than the brain's. When your thoughts and emotions are aligned, that signal becomes highly coherent. You're no longer sending out noise. You're transmitting a clear frequency into the field, and the field responds with precision. That's why visualizations alone don't work. If you picture a perfect future but your emotions are rooted in doubt, you're not creating coherence. You're sending two conflicting messages. A picture of success, paired with a feeling of fear. The field responds to the dominant frequency, and usually it's fear. This is why people feel stuck. They believe they're visualizing correctly. They think they're following the process. But the quantum field isn't listening to the picture in your head. It's responding to the vibration in your body. To activate manifestation at the quantum level, your inner state must match the outcome you're choosing. This means you must feel the emotion of the result before it appears. Not after. Before. Think about this. You wouldn't wait to tune into a radio station and then expect to hear the music. You have to tune in first. Only then does the signal come through. The same is true for manifestation. You don't wait for the result to feel the emotion. You feel the emotion to cause the result. Let's say you want financial freedom. The old way is to wait for your bank account to grow before feeling abundant. The quantum truth? You must feel abundance now, through your thoughts, your emotions, your physiology, and that emotional signature tunes you into the version of reality where abundance exists. It's not pretending. It's aligning. You are tuning into a possibility and drawing it closer, not by forcing it, but by resonating with it. Here's another layer. The quantum field operates in the eternal now. Past and future are constructs of the conscious mind. But in the field, everything happens now. So if your energy is always focused on what you don't have yet, you're reinforcing the reality of delay. This is why affirmations sometimes fall flat. If you repeat, "I am successful," but you feel like a failure, the field responds to the feeling, not the words. When people say, "Be the energy of what you want," they're pointing to a truth most don't fully grasp. It's not symbolic. It's literal. Your emotional state carries an electromagnetic charge. That charge influences the field, and that's how reality rearranges itself around you. So the key is simple but profound. Maintain a coherent signal. Train your mind and body to live in the emotional reality of what you choose, regardless of what your five senses show you. When you do that consistently, your personal frequency becomes dominant. And the field, which is infinite in potential, has no choice but to reflect the version of reality that matches your signal. This isn't magic. This isn't superstition. This is alignment with the physics of possibility. Now you understand the truth. But even with this clarity, most people still fail to apply it. And the reason isn't complexity. It's something much deeper and far more uncomfortable. Let's uncover it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Quantum manifestation is simple, but most people won't do it. Not because it's too hard. Not because it's too abstract. But because it requires something they've been avoiding their whole lives. Self-worth. The single biggest block to true manifestation isn't lack of knowledge. It's a fractured sense of worthiness. You can understand the science. You can follow the steps. You can know the theory forward and backward. But if you don't feel worthy of receiving what you desire, none of it lands. Why? Because your subconscious mind is the gatekeeper. It's running over 90% of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And if it's carrying programs that say, "I don't deserve this," or "I'm not enough," or "it's not safe to have more," then guess what? That signal overrides your conscious efforts. Most people are trying to manifest from their thinking mind, but their emotional body and subconscious identity are sending a completely different message. The result? Mixed signals, resistance, frustration. They visualize success, but their nervous system is still wired for survival. They affirm abundance, but their body still expects scarcity. They speak confidence, but internally they feel unworthy. And the field listens to your whole being, not just your words. This is why change doesn't stick for so many. They try to force new outcomes with old identities. They stay in the same emotional baseline but hope for better results. It never works. Your outer world mirrors your inner world. Always. And if your inner world is filled with limitation, shame, guilt, or fear, then even the most powerful techniques will feel empty. You may ask, why would anyone reject what they want? The answer is conditioning. Since childhood, most people are taught who they should be, what they should want, and how far they're allowed to go. Beliefs are formed early, and they run silently in the background. You may have grown up hearing, money doesn't grow on trees, or be realistic, or people like us don't have that kind of life. These become internal truths, not because they're real, but because they're repeated. And repetition is how the subconscious mind learns. So when someone tries to manifest love, success, freedom, they're not just trying to receive something new. They're bumping into all the old programming that says they can't have it. That internal conflict is what blocks the signal. Not the universe, not other people, you. And unless those inner patterns are brought to the surface and rewired, the cycle continues. Over and over. Different goals, same results. That's why most people quit manifestation. Not because it's fake, but because it forces them to confront their deepest emotional blocks. And that's uncomfortable. You can't just slap a new affirmation over a wound. You can't visualize your way out of self-rejection. You have to go deeper. You have to face the parts of yourself that feel broken, unworthy, or ashamed. And reclaim them. The truth is, the biggest leap in manifestation isn't energetic. It's emotional. When you begin to feel safe with more. When you begin to feel deserving of better. When your nervous system stops anticipating struggle and starts expecting alignment. That's when the shift happens. Because at that point, your body, mind, and energy are no longer in conflict. They're unified. That's what coherence really means. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are saying the same thing. And when that happens, your frequency becomes unshakable. So no, it's not about working harder. It's not about getting more perfect at technique. It's about healing the part of you that keeps rejecting the outcome you claim to want. That's the hidden blocker. That's why nobody does it. Because it's easier to chase than to receive. It's easier to hustle than to feel worthy. But if you're willing to go there, if you're willing to unlearn the lies and reconnect with your innate wholeness, everything changes, not just on the surface, at the deepest level. And from there, manifestation isn't something you try to do. It becomes who you are. Now that you understand the myths and the real mechanics of quantum manifestation, it's time to take it from theory to practice. Because awareness alone doesn't create transformation. Aligned action does. But this action isn't about hustle. It's not about checking boxes. It's about shifting who you are at the level of identity, energy, and emotion, and doing it consistently. Let's be clear. True manifestation happens when your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are working together, not in conflict. That's when you stop broadcasting static and start sending a powerful, unified frequency that pulls in the outcomes you're aligned with. To do that, you need 3 things. 1. Release the noise of limiting beliefs. 2. Embody the future you now. 3. Align your inner world daily through simple, repeatable practices. Let's start with clearing limiting beliefs because that's the foundation. You can't manifest clearly if your subconscious is still running the program of not enough. These beliefs aren't always loud. They often operate quietly in the background. I don't deserve that. I'm not smart enough. Success is for other people. Even if you consciously disagree, those patterns still shape your energy. So how do you clear them? You bring them into awareness and rewire. Start with inner work. That could mean journaling prompts like, what do I believe about money, love, or success? And where did that come from? What identity am I still attached to that doesn't align with who I want to become? What does the version of me who already has this no longer believe? Use breath work to move stuck energy. When you shift your breath, you shift your state. This gets you out of the analytical mind and into the emotional body, where true transformation happens. You can also use guided meditation, EFT tapping, or subconscious reprogramming tools. But the most important part is consistency. You don't remove a belief once and call it done. You rewire by repetition. Once you've created space by clearing the noise, you move to the next part, embodiment. This is where the shift really takes hold. Embodying the future version of you doesn't mean pretending. It means becoming. It means asking yourself, how would I think if this were already real? How would I feel if I knew this was already mine? How would I move, speak, act, if I trusted it was done? And then you live from that place. Not occasionally, but as a new baseline. If the future version of you is confident, you practice confidence now. If they have clarity, you move with clarity now. If they feel free, you generate that emotion now, not because it's fake, but because it's available. Emotion is your magnetic charge. It's the fuel that sends your signal into the field. You must feel before you receive. That's how you collapse potential into reality. A powerful exercise. Each morning, sit quietly and bring that future version of yourself into your awareness. Feel their energy. Feel their certainty. Let it flood your body. Then ask, what one action can I take today from this identity? Do it. That's alignment. And then comes the third key, ritual. Alignment isn't something that happens once. It's something you cultivate every day. Your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors must become a rhythm, not a reaction. That's where ritual comes in. This doesn't mean you need a rigid schedule. It means you choose intentional practices that reinforce coherence, and you stick to them. Could look like a morning breath work to reset your nervous system, a journaling your identity statements, I am, not as aspiration, but as confirmation, a visualizing with emotional intensity, not watching, but participating. Evening gratitude, tuning your nervous system to the signal of receiving. One powerful technique to lock this in: combine visualization with feeling. Close your eyes. Bring to mind one specific outcome you're calling in. See it in detail, but more importantly, feel what you'd feel if it were happening now. Flood your body with that emotion. Let it anchor into your cells. That's your new energetic set point. Now carry that feeling into your day, not by thinking about it constantly, but by becoming someone who expects it, who moves as if it's done. Manifestation is not a moment. It's a frequency you live in, and that means you must guard your signal. Watch where your energy leaks. Notice the thoughts that pull you out of coherence. Become aware of the stories you tell about yourself, others, and your future. If you catch yourself slipping into lack, fear, or doubt, pause, breathe, reset. Bring your attention back to the identity of the version of you that already has what you're calling in. Because that version of you isn't some fantasy. It's a frequency, and it exists now. Your job is to match it. To sum it up clearly, Step 1. Clear limiting beliefs so your signal isn't blocked by static. Step 2. Feel and act as the version of you who already has the outcome. Step 3. Align daily with rituals that make coherence your default. This is not about controlling reality. It's about becoming the tuning fork that attracts a matching experience. Manifestation isn't about force. It's about resonance. And when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all broadcasting the same message, the field listens. Not in theory, not someday, instantly, but only when you are ready to fully live it. Let's lock in what you've just discovered, because repetition creates mastery, and clarity creates power. The real reason most people struggle with manifestation isn't because they lack information. It's because they've been operating with the wrong understanding and, more importantly, the wrong frequency. They've been chasing goals instead of aligning with outcomes. They've been asking instead of becoming. They've been broadcasting confusion and expecting clarity in return. But now you know better. Now you understand exactly why the typical approach fails and what actually works. Let's walk through it one more time with precision. First, the myth. Manifestation isn't about sending wishes into the universe. It's not about visual boards and hopeful thinking. It's not about waiting for magic to happen. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they can attract something they're not energetically aligned with. And that's why it never lands. If your thoughts say, I want it, but your emotions say, I doubt it, and your actions say, I'm not ready, you're creating dissonance. And dissonance keeps your desired outcome at arm's length. Second, the truth. The quantum field is real. It is the infinite landscape of all possibilities, and you exist inside of it. Everything you could possibly become already exists there, not physically, but as a wave of potential. When your inner world matches the frequency of that possibility, the wave collapses. It becomes observable. It becomes real. You are not a beggar. You are not a bystander. You are the observer, the tuner, the generator. Your thoughts generate an electric signal. Your emotions generate a magnetic field. Together, they broadcast a frequency into the quantum field. And that field reflects it back. Not based on what you want, but based on what you are. Third, the block. And this is what stops most people. It's not about effort. It's not about discipline. It's about worthiness. If your subconscious believes you don't deserve what you're asking for, then you will reject it, subtly, repeatedly, unconsciously. You'll push it away. You'll sabotage. You'll shrink. Not because you don't want it, but because your identity isn't aligned with receiving it. That's why the real work is inner coherence. It's emotional alignment. It's rewiring your nervous system to expect and receive the version of reality you claim to want. And fourth, the activation. Real manifestation is not a wish. It's a shift. You shift by clearing out limiting beliefs that distort your signal. You shift by embodying the version of you who already has the outcome. You shift by creating rituals that train your energy into alignment, again and again. It's simple, but it requires consistency. It requires awareness. And it requires responsibility. So here's your final reminder. Quantum manifestation is not about doing more. It's about being more coherent, more aligned, more willing to live from the future instead of repeating the past. When you make that shift, you stop chasing outcomes. You become the version of you that naturally experiences them. And from that place, manifestation stops being a struggle. It becomes a natural extension of your frequency. So the next time you think about what you want, pause. Don't ask how to get it. Ask how to become the version of you who already lives it. Because the moment you do, the field responds. Let's close with this. You don't attract what you think about. You attract what you're in resonance with. Shift your resonance, and you shift your reality. Permanently. Now that you've seen the truth behind quantum manifestation, now that you know exactly how to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the outcomes you choose. The only question left is this: will you actually apply it? Because knowing isn't enough. Insights without action are just intellectual entertainment. But when you live what you've just learned, when you become the signal, everything changes. And not gradually, instantly. So if this video opened your mind, if it challenged your assumptions, if it brought even a sliver of clarity where there was once confusion, let's take that momentum and turn it into something real. Start by dropping a dizzy in the comments right now. Not just as a reaction, but as a declaration. That's your way of saying, I get it. I'm ready. I'm done doing it the wrong way. I'm done manifesting from contradiction. I'm tuning in. And if you're serious about mastering this, not just watching one video, but committing to a new frequency, then make sure you subscribe. Because this is only the beginning. We're building something here that goes far beyond theory. This is a space for people who are done chasing and ready to align. Done guessing and ready to embody. Done waiting and ready to receive. Subscribing means you stay in this field, this frequency, where truth is the baseline and transformation is the standard. And if you're wondering what's next, what to do after this video, I've got something powerful coming. In the next video, I'm going to show you the biggest block to quantum results and how to clear it in 10 minutes. It's not about technique. It's not about effort. It's about the one thing that quietly disrupts even the most aligned intentions. And when you learn how to clear it fully, you unlock a whole new level of flow. So keep your notifications on. You don't want to miss it. But more than that, you don't want to drift back into your old pattern. Because that's what happens when we hear something powerful but don't anchor it. So here's your anchor. Rewatch the part that hit you hardest. Write down the truth you were resisting. And for the next 24 hours, commit to acting from the version of you who already has the result. Not someday. Not later. Right now. That's the test. That's the shift. And if you do that, if you move as the version of you that already knows it's done, reality will shift to match. It has to, because that's the law. That's the frequency. That's the field. And from this moment on, it's no longer about hoping. It's about being. So join the community below. Drop your energy in the comments. Subscribe so you don't lose momentum. And most importantly, live it. Because the next version of you isn't waiting for permission. It's waiting for alignment. And now you know how to find it. This is not the end. This is the beginning of something entirely different. And you're already tuned in. See you in the next one.